Every cruise begins with a choice. A single decision made months before you step aboard that will determine whether your voyage becomes a dream or a nightmare you'll spend years trying to forget. Picture this. You've saved for 2 years. The anticipation builds for months. You board the ship with excitement coursing through your veins. But by night 2, you're lying awake at 3 a.m., listening to the relentless thrum of engines beneath your floor, the screech of deck chairs being dragged overhead, and the nauseating roll of the ship that seems amplified in your tiny, floating prison. Some cabins are dream escape sanctuaries where the ocean becomes your personal theatre, and sleep comes as naturally as the tide. Others are traps waiting to ruin the voyage, turning what should be paradise into a floating purgatory of noise, motion, and regret. The wrong location means sleepless nights that stretch into endless days, mechanical noise that drowns out your thoughts, and seasickness so severe you'll beg to be airlifted off at the next port. The right one? Rock-solid stability that makes you forget you're at sea, silence so complete you can hear your own heartbeat, and ocean views worth every single dollar you invested. But here's what the cruise industry doesn't want you to know. The cabin selection process is rigged against you. Those glossy brochures show you perfect angles and impossible views. The booking agents push whatever generates the highest commission. The cruise lines bank on your ignorance, knowing that by the time you discover your mistake, you're already trapped for 7 to 14 days with no escape. This is the real list the brochures won't show you. The insider knowledge that cruise ship employees whisper about but never share publicly. These are the top 10 best cruise cabin locations and the 3 deadly mistakes that have ruined countless vacations. Stay until number 1, because what you're about to learn changes how every future cruise should be booked. 10. The aft cabins, the poet's paradise or motion sickness. Hell, the stern of the ship, the poet's balcony where romance meets reality in ways that will either enchant you or destroy your vacation entirely. Here's what they show you. Endless sunsets painting the sky in impossible colors, the ship's wake stretching to the horizon like a liquid highway. Unmatched privacy, where the sounds of the crowd fade into whispers. Some of the largest balconies on the ship, perfect for morning coffee or evening wine. But here's what they don't tell you, what you'll only discover when you're 500 miles from the nearest land. Vibrations hum through the walls like a mechanical heartbeat that never stops. The propulsion system lives directly beneath you, and its mechanical symphony becomes the soundtrack to your sleepless nights. Seasickness hits harder here because the aft experience is the most dramatic motion. You're riding the tail of a 1,000-foot beast as it cuts through ocean swells.
Interviewed cruise veterans described it both ways. Sarah from Minneapolis calls her aft balcony hypnotic, like being rocked to sleep by the ocean itself.
But Mark from Denver had a different experience. It was the worst mistake I ever made. 3 days of feeling like I was in a washing machine. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't enjoy a single moment.
The aft motion intensifies in rough weather. While the bow cuts through waves, the stern follows their rhythm, creating a constant rise and fall that some find soothing and others find nauseating. Professional cruise consultants report that aft cabins have the highest request rates for cabin changes, but also the most passionate defenders. Would you risk it for the view? That's the question that separates the dreamers from the pragmatists. 9. Midship cabins, the storm-proof fortress. Welcome to the ship's sweet spot, the gravitational center where physics works in your favor. Every ship has a fulcrum point, the place where motion is minimized, where the rocking becomes a gentle sway instead of a stomach-churning roll. Naval engineers call it the pivot point. Cruise passengers call it salvation. Here are the numbers they don't advertise. Independent studies show 40% fewer seasickness complaints from midship passengers compared to bow or stern cabins. During hurricane conditions in 2019, passengers in forward and aft cabins reported sleep disruption rates of 78%, while midship cabins clocked in at just 23%. But it's more than just motion stability. Midship cabins sit at the ship's center of gravity, meaning less engine noise, less anchor chain rattle, and less of the mechanical symphony that turns other locations into 24-hour industrial concerts. You're equidistant from most ship amenities. Dining rooms, theaters, pools, and shops are all within easy walking distance. The trade-off: midship cabins often lack the dramatic views of bow and stern locations. Your ocean perspective might be partially obstructed by lifeboats or other ship structures. But in rough waters, This location becomes the difference between sleeping peacefully and surviving a maritime nightmare. Cruise ship captains and crew members, the people who live on these vessels for months at a time, almost universally choose midship quarters when given the choice. That should tell you everything you need to know. 8. Surrounded by silence, the soundproofing secret. Noise is the invisible thief of cruise vacations, and most passengers don't realize they're victims until it's too late. The anatomy of cruise ship noise is more complex than you imagine. Bars and lounges generate late-night music and conversation that travels through walls and floors. Engine rooms create mechanical harmonics that resonate through steel corridors. Crew passages see constant foot traffic at all hours. Pool decks become amphitheaters of splashing and laughter that pierce through supposedly soundproof barriers. The secret that cruise industry insiders know? A cabin wrapped on all sides by other passenger cabins creates the most effective soundproofing available. Human habitation patterns are more predictable than mechanical systems. Other passengers sleep when you sleep, party when you party, and generally follow similar schedules. Avoid these noise nightmare locations at all costs. Directly below pool decks, chair scraping starts at 6 a.m. Above or beside crew areas, 24-hour activity. Near elevator banks, constant dings and mechanical sounds. Adjacent to stairwells, footsteps echo like thunder. And anywhere close to the ship's theatre or main entertainment venues. The ideal cabin has passenger cabins above, below, and on both sides. It's positioned away from high-traffic corridors and entertainment zones. This creates a buffer zone of human activity that dampens sound more effectively than any mechanical insulation. 7. The pool deck nightmare when convenience becomes torture. It looks so convenient in the deck plans, steps from the pool, quick access to the outdoor bar, perfect for families with active kids, but convenience has a price and you'll pay it every single hour of your cruise. At 6 in the morning, deck stewards begin their daily ritual, dragging dozens of aluminum lounge chairs across the deck directly above your head. The sound is like fingernails on a chalkboard, amplified through steel and fiberglass. By 7 a.m., early risers claim their spots with the enthusiastic energy of people on vacation. During the day, pool activities create a constant symphony of splashing music, announcements, and crowd noise. Children's voices carry in ways that penetrate every corner of nearby cabins. Pool games involve dropping and bouncing equipment that reverberates through the deck structure. But the real torture begins at night. Pool deck parties continue until midnight or later, with music, dancing, and alcohol-fueled celebration happening directly overhead. Just as you think silence has finally arrived, late-night swimmers extend the aquatic symphony until the early morning hours.
Cruise veterans share horror stories of pool deck cabin assignments. Janet from Phoenix describes her experience. By the third night, I was fantasizing about jumping overboard just to get some sleep. The noise was relentless. Morning, noon, and night. I paid premium prices for the convenience and got a front row seat to everyone else's fun while I lay awake exhausted.
Would you trade your sleep for quick pool access? The honest answer should be never. The marketing images are undeniable. Cinematic sunrises streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Panoramic ports that frame the ocean like living artwork. Balconies that feel like private observation decks suspended over infinite blue water. Upper-deck cabins promise the romantic ideal of cruise travel, you, the ocean, and nothing between you and the horizon. The views can be absolutely spectacular, especially on sea days when the water stretches endlessly in every direction. But physics doesn't care about romance. Motion and wind intensify as you climb higher on any vessel. Upper decks experience greater sway, more pronounced rolling and more dramatic movement during rough weather. What feels like gentle motion on lower decks becomes a carnival ride in upper accommodations. Wind becomes another factor most passengers never consider. Upper-deck balconies can become unusable during windy conditions, turning your premium outdoor space into an expensive wind tunnel. Ocean spray can reach surprising heights during choppy conditions, soaking outdoor furniture and making balcony time impossible. The psychological impact varies dramatically between passengers. Some find the enhanced motion romantic and exciting, a constant reminder that they're truly at sea. Others discover that the combination of height, motion, and wind triggers anxiety and seasickness that ruins their entire vacation. If you could only choose between stability and views, which would win? Your honest answer to that question should determine whether upper-deck cabins are dreams or disasters for your particular cruise style. Close to the waterline, these cabins represent one of cruising's best-kept secrets and one of its smartest financial strategies. Lower deck cabins are stable in ways that defy expectations. Closer to the ship's center of gravity, they experience minimal motion even in rough seas. The proximity to water level creates a psychological sense of connection to the ocean that many passengers find soothing, rather than claustrophobic. But here's the financial reality that changes everything. Lower deck cabins cost up to 30% less than identical accommodations on higher floors, despite offering many of the same amenities and square footage. You're essentially paying a discount for the privilege of better stability and quieter conditions. Practical advantages extend beyond cost savings. You're nearer to the gangway, meaning faster embarkation and disembarkation at every port, less elevator waiting time, shorter walks to dining venues, and quicker access to shore excursions. During busy port days, these time savings compound into hours of additional exploration time. The trade-offs are primarily psychological rather than practical. Some passengers feel buried in the ship's depths. Ocean views might be limited or partially obstructed. Emergency assembly stations are typically located on these lower decks, which some find reassuring and others find ominous. For experienced cruise travelers who prioritize value, comfort, and practical advantages over Instagram-worthy views, lower deck cabins represent one of the industry's most intelligent choices. 4. Bow cabins, drama in motion. The bow is where adventure meets anxiety in the most dramatic way possible. Forward cabins put you at the ship's cutting edge, literally the first point of contact between your floating city and whatever ocean conditions await. You're first to see approaching weather, first to spot distant islands, and first to experience whatever the sea has planned for your voyage. The motion here is unique and intense. Instead of the rocking motion experienced at the stern, bow cabins experience a slicing, up and down movement as the ship cuts through waves. In calm seas, this can feel like a gentle, rhythmic breathing. In rough conditions, it becomes a mechanical bronco ride that never stops. Some travelers become addicted to this sensation. They describe it as feeling truly connected to the ocean's power and rhythm. The bow becomes their personal observation deck for sunrise, wildlife spotting, and the hypnotic experience of watching endless water disappear beneath the ship's hull. Others pray for the cruise to end. The constant motion triggers severe seasickness. The noise of water crashing against the hull creates a 24-hour symphony of maritime chaos. Forward cabins can be among the loudest on the ship, especially during rough weather when wave impact sounds like thunder. Bow cabin passengers report the most extreme experiences, either absolute love or complete misery with very little middle ground. The decision often comes down to your personal relationship with motion and your tolerance for oceanic drama. 3. Port versus starboard, the view that makes or breaks your cruise. This choice can transform your balcony into a theatre of wonders or a wall of disappointment. Most first-time cruisers think port and starboard cabins are interchangeable. They're wrong. Devastatingly wrong. The difference between left and right sides of the ship can mean the difference between front row seats to natural wonders and staring at open ocean for an entire week. In Alaska, starboard cabins reveal glaciers, icebergs, and wildlife-rich coastlines. Portside passengers often see nothing but endless water while their neighbors photograph whales and carving ice. In the Mediterranean, portside cabins overlook historic harbors, ancient cities and dramatic coastlines, while starboard passengers face empty horizons. Caribbean itineraries present complex choices. Eastern Caribbean routes often favor portside for island approaches. Western Caribbean can go either way, depending on specific ports and routing. Southern Caribbean presents its own unique viewing patterns that change with seasonal weather and cruise line preferences. The research required is exhausting but essential. You need to understand not just your itinerary, but the specific approach patterns for each port, the time of day you'll be sailing past key landmarks, and even seasonal variations in routing that might change your viewing opportunities. Get it wrong, and your expensive balcony becomes a premium-priced view of empty water, while passengers across the hallway witness the vacation moments you've dreamed about for months. Professional travel agents, specializing in cruises, maintain detailed port-by-port databases of optimal cabin sides. This insider knowledge is worth its weight in gold, or the difference between a good cruise and an unforgettable one. 2. Interior cabins, the underdog champions. They're the underdogs of cruise accommodations, dismissed by first-time cruisers who can't imagine vacationing without windows or balconies. But experienced travelers know a secret that could save thousands while delivering unexpected luxury. Total darkness means perfect sleep. No sunrise disturbing your rest, no harbor lights interrupting dreams, no moonlight or ship navigation lights disrupting your circadian rhythms. Interior cabins create cocoons of controlled environment that many passengers find surprisingly restful. The financial advantages are staggering. Interior cabins often cost 60% less than balcony accommodations on the same deck. For a family of 4 on a week-long cruise, this can represent savings of $2,000 to $4,000 that can be redirected toward excursions, specialty dining, spa treatments, or future cruises. Modern ships have revolutionized interior cabin design. Virtual balconies now provide real-time ocean views through high-definition screens that display the actual outside environment. Some passengers report forgetting these aren't real windows. Advanced ventilation systems eliminate the claustrophobic feeling that plagued older ship designs. The psychological shift required is significant but manageable. Interior cabin passengers spend more time exploring ship amenities and participating in activities rather than isolating in their rooms. This often leads to more social, active cruise experiences. For budget-conscious travelers who prioritize experiences over accommodations, interior cabins represent one of cruising's most intelligent power moves. The money saved on cabin upgrades can fund experiences that create lifelong memories. Exactly what vacation should be about. 1. The midship balcony, the crown jewel of cruise accommodations. After analyzing thousands of passenger reviews, consulting with cruise industry professionals, and examining satisfaction surveys spanning decades, one cabin type emerges as the undisputed champion. The midship balcony represents the perfect synthesis of every advantage cruising can offer. Stable in storms due to optimal physics positioning, silent compared to busy entertainment decks and mechanical areas, sweeping ocean views without the motion penalties of bow or stern locations, easy access to dining venues, theaters, and ship amenities without the noise associated with high-traffic areas. Year after year, passenger satisfaction surveys rank midship balcony cabins #1 across every major cruise line. The reasons are measurable and consistent. 67% fewer motion-related complaints compared to bow-stern cabins, 45% better sleep quality ratings than cabins near entertainment areas, and 89% of passengers reporting they would choose the same location again. The balcony provides private outdoor space for morning coffee, sunset viewing, and ocean contemplation without the wind and spray issues of higher decks. The midship location ensures this outdoor space remains usable in a wider range of weather conditions. Pricing reflects this desirability. Midship balconies typically cost 15 to 25% more than comparable bow or stern accommodations. But passenger testimonials consistently describe this premium as the best money they've ever spent on travel accommodations. The perfect blend of value, view, and peace makes midship balconies the gold standard against which all other cruise accommodations are measured. The 3 deadly cabin mistakes that ruin cruises. Before we conclude, let's address the 3 cabin choices that consistently generate the most passenger complaints and ruined vacation stories. Mistake 1. Directly below the pool deck. No matter how tired you are, no matter how much you love swimming, the 6 a.m. chair-dragging symphony will destroy your sleep schedule and your vacation mood. Mistake 2. Forward cabins on large ships. The motion becomes exponentially worse on mega ships, where the distance from midship creates dramatic leverage effects. Save the bow experience for smaller vessels. Mistake 3. Cabins near crew areas. Crew members work 24-hour schedules with shift changes, maintenance activities, and service deliveries happening at all hours. The noise never stops. Your choice changes everything. Every cabin tells a story. Some whisper regret, tales of sleepless nights, ruined vacations, and money wasted on premium locations that delivered premium misery. Others sing with luxury, comfort, and the perfect balance of ocean adventure and peaceful retreat. But now the map is clear. The insider knowledge is yours. The choice becomes power rather than guesswork. The cabin decision you make today will determine whether your next cruise becomes a cherished memory or a cautionary tale. Whether you sleep peacefully while waves rock your floating sanctuary, or lie awake counting the hours until you can escape your maritime prison, every expert interview, every passenger survey, every industry secret points to the same conclusion. Location matters more than luxury. Physics trumps marketing. The right cabin in the right spot with the right considerations will outperform the most expensive suite in the wrong location. So, which cabin would you gamble on? Your answer should no longer be a gamble at all. The ocean is waiting. Your perfect cabin location is calling. The only question left is whether you'll answer with confidence or continue rolling the dice on what should be the vacation of your dreams. Drop your choice in the comments and subscribe for the next insider travel guide that will change how you see the world. At sea, the right cabin changes everything. Now you have the knowledge to make it everything you've dreamed it could be.